So I want to talk a little bit about treatment choices. And before I do that, I want to share my story. So in 2006, I was 41 years old and I had a 9.5-year-old daughter and 1.5-year-old son. And I was diagnosed with something called ductal carcinoma in situ. You hear the word carcinoma, you know it's not good. Now it was early stage breast cancer, so that part was comforting. And the surgeon told me that I wasn't going to die, so that was even better. But I started doing some research, especially when they found more. And I realized that there were some treatment choices that I wasn't going to just take a pill for 6 weeks and be done like I kind of had in my head, that they were more severe than I was thinking. So I've been in your shoes. I know what it feels like to have a diagnosis, a cancer diagnosis, or any major illness diagnosis. Never fun. You feel like crawling in bed and maybe never getting out, sucking your thumb and pulling the covers over your head and letting the world go by. And you're shocked, you're scared, you're afraid, and it's hard to deal with all those emotions. And for me, I blocked them out for a long time. And we'll talk more about mood and all that anxiety and stress a little bit later. But right now I want to focus on the treatment choices. So I tried to be objective. I did what any good attorney, I'm trained as an attorney, would do. I pulled out my yellow pad. And I'm going to show you what I did with that in a minute. But I started talking to people. I started doing research. I couldn't believe that really one of my choices was mastectomy for such early stage breast cancer. Now what's interesting is DCIS is kind of a gray area. It was 9 years ago, it still is today. There's about 60,000 American women diagnosed with DCIS every year. And maybe it's you, maybe your sister, whoever it may be. We've got to stop it, but at this point, we're still getting diagnosed. Now if you have cancer or something, of course, you want to get diagnosed. You don't want to get the illness, but if you have it, you want to get diagnosed. So you got to be going out there and getting treated and be your own advocate and do your own self-exams and all that kind of stuff. So what I hope to do is to guide you and to mentor you. I'm not going to give you a decision for what your situation is. That you have to do on your own. And I call it the sleep at night factor. So if I do X, Y, and Z, how am I going to sleep? And so I did a PDF of this, and you're probably not going to be able to read my writing on my yellow sheet, so I have a PDF for those who want it, of how to make a decision. And so again, you're kind of being objective. This is what I would do with you if you came to me as a friend, a sister, a client. Let's weigh out the pluses and minuses. Let's first consider what are the different choices. And then based on those choices, what are the pluses and minuses for each? So things haven't changed much with breast cancer, so you might be suggested to get a lumpectomy, radiation, chemotherapy, mastectomy, tamoxifen, aromatase inhibitors. If you've been diagnosed, those sound familiar to you. Or the do nothing. I wasn't a do nothing kind of girl. Now, so those are Western medicine. I'm going to go lightly into what I call holistic or more natural type things. I believe in combining all of them, combining both, the best of both worlds. So by holistic, I mean increasing supplementation, pharmaceutical grade vitamin D, antioxidants, fatty fish oil, decreasing your stress. This is good at any point in your life, even before you've gotten diagnosed, because maybe this will help you prevent. So we're working on prevention as well, and preventing recurrences. Increasing your exercise, decreasing your body fat, decreasing your stress, taking your house and making it healthier in many ways with decreasing toxins. Better foods, organics, more natural foods. So those are all for a different topic, and I have videos on those, and we'll go more into those another time. And I have a whole course on those, the Best You course. So anyway, but back to making a treatment decision. So you want to write out, take your yellow pad or whatever you want to do it on. And again, I said I have a PDF for you. So you write out the choices. What are the treatment choices? Do your research, talk to people, ask the doctors, but more importantly, talk to people who've had these treatments and find out what it feels like, what kind of side effects they had. I thought radiation sounded pretty easy on paper, but after talking to some ladies, it was a lot harsher than it sounded like. So you want to write the pluses. If I have that treatment, what are the benefits of it? What are the negatives? What are the side effects? So I know a lot of you taking tamoxifen, you have a lot of issues. So be looking at those, thinking about it. It sounds easy. Oh, just take a pill. Well, not so easy. Same thing, radiation. Is it going to scar your chest wall? What's it going to do to your tissue? Things like that. How are you going to feel the fatigue and maybe you still have to work? So think about the side effects. And then very importantly, you want to be thinking about the risk of recurrence. And so if I do this particular treatment, what is my chance of recurrence, say within 5 years? Now, you should be able to go to your oncologist and get percentages. This is the book that I wrote, You Are Not Alone, The Life After a Breast Cancer Diagnosis. I went back and I was reviewing my risk percentages, and I realized at first the oncologist gave me a number, and then after talking to the radiologist came back and gave me some different numbers if I did radiation alone or if I added tamoxifen. Now, numbers can be very helpful, but they can also be a little deceiving. Just like when you go to the store and say something's on sale for 50% and then you get another 40% off. That doesn't mean you get 90% off, right? So I think you know what I mean when I use sale items. But anyway, it's the same thing. So say you're taking, and I'm just throwing numbers out there. Say you choose radiation and it decreases your risk of recurrence, or say you have a 10% risk of recurrence in 5 years because you did radiation. Now you add tamoxifen and say that decreases the risk by another 30%. So what does that mean? Does that mean that the 10% gets reduced by 30%? So now it's a 7% chance of recurrence. So basically you've reduced your risk by 3%, not 30. Does that make sense? I know this will cause some confusion and you need to go to your doctors and really peg them on this. So then what you would do is weigh out, is it worth adding on tamoxifen with the possible side effects of that to get maybe just another 3% decrease? So weigh this all out, and I'm not telling you what to do, and I'm not using actual numbers. Your numbers will be different than everyone else's. They need to consider your risk factors, your age and your ethnicity, all those things come into play. And if you're BRCA gene mutation positive, those would be factors as well. And estrogen receptor positive, all those things. So talk to your doctors, be informed, ask questions, read books, read my book, get information, but get it from good sources. So again, then the other thing you want to talk about, or my other column here, is what is my survival rate? So if I do X, Y, and Z, or X, what is the chance that I'm going to survive? And that's key, right? We want to survive. We want to get through this. We want to have as little side effects as possible, and we want to make informed decisions. So I hope this is helpful. I know it's going to cause some questions and stir up some things and emotions. And you know what? There's no bad decision. You've got to be comfortable with the decision you make with the knowledge that you have. But I'm suggesting you get the information, get good information, and make an informed decision. So again, you're going to look at your treatment choices, Western medicine, add on some other non-Western medicine, feel good, get healthy, do everything you can to be healthy and feel good at the same time, mood, stress, eating, all those kind of things. And again, I have a course that will help you with that. And then be thinking about the pluses of each treatment choice, the minuses, the side effects. They are real. They do exist. Just check with your other ladies. Weigh that against the percent risk of recurrence and your chance of survival. So I hope this is helpful, and I'm going to be answering questions about this. All right, so it's interesting stuff, but think it through.